In 1971, in South Africa, a child was born, destined to challenge the limits of human capacity and life here on Earth. One of the most influential and powerful people of our era.
He's really the most driven person I think I've ever met.
But at the same time, one of the most controversial and controversial figures.
Go yourself. I don't care.
Known as real-life Tony Stark, Elon Musk is someone who lives in the extreme, the electric car guy, two rockets of robots and Twitter. In 2022, became the richest man in the world, second to Forbes.
You have to do these things that really get the world's attention. Otherwise, they just don't believe you. They don't think it's possible.
I recently decided to read your bibliography, made by renowned author Walter Isaacson, who followed the billionaire's routine for 2 years, seeking to understand the secrets and behind what is probably the brightest mind today. In this video, I will summarize the mains I had, trying to understand the mysterious story of Elon Musk.
South Africa, when I was growing up, was just an inherently very violent place.
Grew in first South Africa, commanded by the apartheid regime, one country taken by political radicalism and violence. He was one French boy, was different from others. With one degree of, he had difficulty socializing, didn't have many friends, and at school he was chased.
Where I grew up was extremely violent. I almost got beaten to death once.
His childhood was very violent and traumatic. For years there was no truce. The terror that was at school was not enough. When I got home, it was another hell. After being beaten up once, he was in the hospital for 4 days. But he gets home, and his father makes him stand in front of him, for 2 hours, while the father tells him he's a loser.
And it was his fault. And takes the side of the kid who beat up Elon.
Which was noticeable from an early age. It was your genius.
I'd say from the age of 3, I thought he was a genius. He would reason with me, and his reasoning was...
He knew he was smarter than the others, and acted with superiority and allotiveness. He liked to discover his own ways and learn things by yourself. But this way, self-taught, was also what led to depression. Only 13 years old.
When I was a teenager, I had like an existential crisis to try to figure out what's the meaning of life. There doesn't seem to be any meaning.
He tried to find meaning in books, religious texts and philosophers such as Nietzsche and Schopenhauer, but none of that fell.
Be careful of like reading German philosophers as a teenager. It's definitely not going to help with your depression.
Things just started to change when he decided to read the book, The Backpacker Guide of Galaxies by Douglas Adams. Basically, the story deals with a civilization who was looking for an answer to everything. And for that, he built a super smart robot, able to answer any question. In the end, the big question they asked the robot is, what is the meaning of life? And your answer was simple and meaningless. 42. But it was right there. That was the big message from the book.
It's an existential philosophy book, disguised as humor. They come to the conclusion that the real problem is trying to formulate the question. The universe is the answer. What is the question?
He understood that the importance of things were not simply in the answers, but in the search for them, in the expansion of consciousness, and in constant evolution. And it was from this view he began to understand his whys, and found out what his life mission would be. The first step was to leave South Africa. Elon Musk left his country at the age of 17. He had in mind 3 successful goals: take people to Mars, have sustainable energy on Earth, and develop useful and safe robots for people after from college. But began his ventures, and it didn't take long for him to reap the fruits of your brilliant mind. Then at the age of 28, sold a software company where he pocketed $22 million. A good part of that money was used to found a company, Online Payment Methods, which quickly merged with the famous PayPal and ended up sold to eBay. And then he changed levels Almost 30 years old, Musk put $180 million in his pocket. It could be time to stop, but it had nothing to do with his plans.
Guy with unlimited ambition.
Ambition to do what?
Not a typical type of ambition. It's his mind just needs to be constantly fulfilled, and the problems that he takes on therefore need to become more and more complex over time in order to keep him interested.
Musk invested almost all that money in one rocket company and one of electric cars. From a financial point of view, was one who invests $100 million, more than half of your assets, in one rocket company, and still without having any diploma or technical qualification in the area. For critics and the media, it was unthinkable.
You're self-taught?
Yeah. Well, self-taught, yes, meaning I don't have an aerospace degree.
But Musk wasn't even there for media approval, not even too worried about getting back. With your investment, he just wanted to start working in your great life projects. Abra SpaceX was your chance to get people to Mars. Tesla, which is where he invested the others. $80 million. It was your chance to develop the planet. Land in a sustainable way with your electric cars, robots and engineers' renewable energy projects.
We can accelerate the transition to sustainable energy. I'm confident in the future in Tesla that it will do well.
But the truth is, it wasn't easy at all. Elon Musk had to cross one of the biggest financial crises in history in 2008.
Each month that passes is literally costs us tens of millions of dollars. I mean, we need to appreciate that.
Several record companies closed the doors, and Tesla was left a few days.
The company was bleeding money like crazy, and if we didn't solve these problems in a very short period of time, we would die.
Ele estava sendo atacado de todos os lados. A indústria automotiva tradicional não o levava a sério e os clientes não tinham confiança nenhuma na marca.
They were basically saying, here's this cheeky bloke from Silicon Valley who thinks he can make a car, he's going to fail. How did you feel at that stage?
Well, I felt pretty miserable, honestly. It did honestly look like we were going to fail. Almost ran out of money. In fact, at the end of 2008, so I had to invest the last money that I had in the company.
You staked your fortune, didn't you?
Everything, yeah.
By SpaceX, things weren't going well either. Projects were failing, and the money was drying up, but that it had already become a joke in the media because of their destroyed rockets. To make matters worse, several people in between made heavy reviews and discouraged him from keeping trying, including some personal idols.
There are American heroes who don't like this idea. Neil Armstrong, Gene Cernan have both testified against commercial spaceflight in the way that you're developing it, and I wonder what you think of that.
I was very sad to see that, because those guys are, those guys are heroes of mine, so it's really tough.
They inspired you to do this, didn't they?
Yes.
And to see them casting stones in your direction.
It's difficult.
There were 3 rockets in a row that failed, but for them, if you don't have at least 20% failures, you are not trying enough.
When you had that third failure in a row, did you think, I need to pack this in?
Never.
Why not?
I don't ever give up.
And liftoff. We have a liftoff.
After a few years, your project started to work. Abra SpaceX consolidated as the company private sector of the aerospace branch, being today the closest to achieving take a trip with human beings. And Tesla took off and was largely responsible for, in 2022, he was considered the richest man in the world.
Tesla and SpaceX are not going to die. Previously, they thought, well, they've just basically ignored us or laughed at us. Now we're actually starting to make real inroads, and they're treating us as a real threat. This window of opportunity is open for life to go beyond Earth. The thing that gets me most fired up is that creating a self-sustaining civilization on Mars. It would be the greatest adventure ever.
I think most of us have things that drive us, and sometimes there's some demons from childhood. But the question is whether you harness those demons or those demons harness you. And in Elon Musk's case, the answer is both.
It is evident how Musk's childhood traumas are the roots of this unbridled ambition and its consequent success. But it is noticeable how at certain times, these same demons of the past manage to dominate him completely.
Even the most golden among us, I mean, they have stellar careers. But if you look at the other areas of their lives, you'll see where their demons manifest themselves.
Obviously, that dedication and determination used to run its two large companies. They weren't the same at home. His absence caused his first wife, with whom he had 5 children, began to feel insignificant. And after 8 years together, both agreed to sign the divorce papers. Only because of the trauma that was his childhood. Lonely, but that you don't get along very well with. So incredibly, after 6 weeks of signing the divorce, there he was, asked British actress Tallulah Riley to marry.
It all happened very fast. We were engaged after, I think, sort of two weeks of knowing each other.
The truth is that nothing has changed. Instability and rapid relationship exchanges kept happening. You're with work. Lack of empathy and difficulty in dealing with people certainly plays a decisive role on this roller coaster that is your love.
I was working, so 7 days a week, sleeping in the factory. No one should put this many hours into work. This is not good. This is very painful. It hurts my brain and my heart.
It wasn't enough. The storm that SpaceX and Tesla were causing in your personal life and above of everything in your mental health. In 2022, he went too far.
After revolutionizing the space race and electric cars, the world's richest man is now promising a Twitter makeover, renaming his own account Chief Twit and proclaiming the bird is freed.
Erratic, unstable, reckless, operatic, doing things that seemed impulsive, un-CEO-ish.
I'm just being me.
When he took over Twitter, soon came across all those company things. Modern yoga area of leisure, of rest.
Haha, that's hilarious.
He cut it all off and even said he would only need 20% of all employees, asking them to stay, only those willing to give their all.
There are charges of unreported injuries, excessive hours, abusive conditions. So you think they drummed up these charges?
Yes, these are utter nonsense.
Colleaguism and empathy are your great enemies. In business, he believes that anyone who tries very hard to be legal will never be disruptive. And maybe he's right. Maybe that's really the price to pay. By someone who wants to change the world. But don't confuse this determination with happiness.
Is he happy?
Now, he's somebody who not only is not usually happy, but he doesn't value happiness.
My mind is a storm, and I don't think most people would want to be me. They may think they would want to be me, but they don't. They don't know. They don't understand.
An uncontrollable mind, marked by a compulsion, the repetition that makes him unconsciously always be looking for something to fill its inner void. Whether having more children, seeking new relationships, or creating new companies and projects. A compulsion that, while making him achieve the impossible, also prevents you from confronting and master the traumas of your past. At the beginning, I spoke of your existential crisis in adolescence when trying to discover the meaning of life. And without a doubt, this remains your big question. Albert Einstein once said no problem can be replaced on the same level of consciousness that created it. And that is also the vision of Elon Musk. He believes that to answer the fundamental question of our existence, you have to go beyond.
I think it's important that humanity become a multi-planet species.
We need to expand our consciousness for horizons never explored. Deep down, he knows that even if his plans work out, he might not even find that answer. But it's okay, because in the end, what he really wants is a goal to keep. Ironically, it seems that the meaning of Elon Musk's life, it is the search for meaning itself.
If
If something is important enough, you must try, even if the probable result is the failure